that was a remarkable feeling, to realize that I was a much stronger person than I thought I was, particularly at 60 when I was there. And I thought, wouldn't it be a remarkable thing to be able to offer this to other women, particularly as they get older, who, maybe their children have left home, maybe they've left their partner or their business or whatever. And, I know a lot of women, when they get to sort of 50 and 60, sometimes forget who they really are. If they've identified themselves as mother, lover, CEO, or whatever it is, then when those things are not so important, they might forget who they really are. Mm-hmm. And so I was toying with the idea of how could I create somewhere where there would be secluded yurts, but you wouldn't be isolated. So you need to be able to find somebody. You just don't want to be saved by somebody before you need it. Mm-hmm. And so that really was the germination of the Silver Tent, but I hadn't quite got that far at that particular point. But I found that my attention was coming much, much more to women at this stage of life, at 50, 60, 70, that kind of span. And realizing also, in fact, when I was out in Peru, beginning to get the start of it there too, this sense that we're really wise elders, but we're not classed as that in our society. Mm-hmm. In indigenous cultures, yes, but not in our Western society. We're just older and old, and sometimes really old, and past our sell-by date, and pretty invisible, and just maybe a drain on the society's resources. So I found that I was heading much more towards looking at what we had as a demographic, and really sensing this deep wisdom that all of us have, no matter what kind of life we've had, but just simply by the fact that we've made it to 50, 60, 70, we have a wealth of experience to share way beyond the youngsters. Yeah. So that's really where it came from. And then all of a sudden, this idea of creating a global community online initially, so that elder women, so over 50, even if you're just only over 50, don't be horrified that I call you elder. I mean that with the greatest of respect. I just think that we're the most phenomenally untapped resource. And that if every woman over 50 really recognized that they were a wise woman and had something of value to share with the wider community, even if that was just their family, and we came together with that, I think we could resolve the most enormous amount of challenges on our planet. And makes me feel really emotional when I think about that, because in an indigenous culture, the wise elders are valuable. And we've just forgotten. And if we take back that value, if we own it again and start exploring what can we do with that, it's like having a talent and not using it, isn't it? If we take that, our wisdom as a talent and a skill and a gift to the world, and then work together to take it out there, oh my God, what could we do? So that's really what the Silver Tent is. It's a community to remind women, in whatever way it is relevant to them, that they're a wise elder, and they're wild, wonderful, and wise elder women, and together we can make a massive difference.
And I've got pimples thinking about it, because that's how we met. And your little Silver Tent Facebook group, which the link is in the chat at the side, has really made a huge impact, I think. It's a growing community. You've over 1,000 members already. And what I really love about it is the level of conversation that goes on in the group. I do have my own little group, and I find it a little bit frustrating in that it seems to be a one-way conversation, with me and a few likes and a few comments. But your group doesn't do that. Everybody gets involved, and it's a wonderful, expressive place to be. I think it's really exciting.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I'm really humbled and awed, you know, when one of the members of the group comes in and they're vulnerable enough to say, I'm having a problem in my relationship. You know, I don't know whether to stay with my husband or not, and I'm frightened, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been so vulnerable to say that to a group. And we've got over 1,200 people in there now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the level of support that comes from the other members who say, you're wise, you're amazing. And they all share their own little perspective and their own bit of wisdom. But they might get 40, 50, 60 responses,
mm-hmm.
serving them and supporting them. They're always such supportive things to say. And I just think, wow, you know, this is incredible. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And oh, it's just amazing. And it's so full of love and support and wisdom.
And very much strong, very strong. Mm. And so you've just completed a summit as well, which I know must have been extremely exhaustive work, because I know just running a weekly webinar takes its toll on me. Exciting people you had. Tell the audience a little bit about your actual summit.
Oh, it was brilliant. I so enjoyed every single conversation that I had as an interview, you know, just like you are. It's like doing this, isn't it? It's lovely. Mm-hmm. And I'm lucky enough to know some people that are relatively well known. So like Lynn McTaggart, I know her well enough to ask if she would join us. And she said, you know, immediately, yes, which was brilliant. And the same with Gertrude Matche, who quite a few people in the personal growth arena will know as well. So it was wonderful being able to interview them. And then I got people who aren't well known at all, but have a really powerful story and a powerful, abiding passion that is valuable for us to know. So there was Rosemary Kelly, who is passionate about using laughter as a healing technique, mainly for women who've been through breast cancer. And I won't go into all the reasons, but it was just fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then there was Cheryl and Linda who talk about oxytocin, and which they call the big O. And you know, oxytocin comes from hanging out with your women friends and from feeling good. And it's this incredibly powerful hormone that really serves us. And we get it much more than men. You know, nature was brilliant in that effect. So we had this whole thing about, you know, laughter and joy. And, you know, Dorothy West, who decided when she was 60 that she was going to have the best year of her life so far. And she decided to train and participate in what's called a Spartan race, which is 5 kilometer horrific obstacle course race. And she did it, and she climbed over walls and she climbed up, you know, ropes. And I mean, it was astonishing to hear. And then we got people like Lynn talking about the power of intention. And then I had this amazing conversation with a woman called Julia Capelli, who works for the Wolf Connection.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yes, wasn't that just astonishing?
Especially when the wolves joined in at the end. That was just unbelievable.
So magical. But just how she shared about the wisdom of wolves and how she embodies the wisdom of wolves. And she lives by the pack credo. And, you know, that, you know, when you were reading out my bio, that sense of, you know, when we follow our heart, come what may, we tap into that collaborative essence of nature. That's sort of what I mean. You know, she followed her heart to be there, and now she's getting her wisdom from the wolves. And, you know, 24 amazing women talking about a whole host of different things. It was just brilliant. Yes, lots of technological challenges. And then, of course, Virginia McKenna, the actress, who is one of my favorite of all time, and, you know, who played Joy Adamson in Born Free. And I had such a lovely conversation with her. So I now want to really build on the connections that I've made and the work that I've done to draw in many more of these women from all around the world, whether they're what we consider ordinary, but are extraordinary. That's what's so cool about this, Kay. And I'm sure you find that with your interviews.
Definitely.
We think we're ordinary, but we're not. We're all extraordinary. We all are. We just might not see it in ourselves. So to be able to really share that through the Silver Tent, and to share, not just share it with people from outside and go, look, you can be like this, but to draw that out of the membership as well. To go, look, you think you're ordinary, but you're not.
I think that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your visions for the future of the Silver Tent, because we talked a little bit about it, where it is now. Yes. So where is it going? This need to help each other and to help the world.
Well, you know, I've been in the businesses that I've been involved in prior. You know, I've read things like Wikinomics and, you know, quite a few books on a new way of being, you know, like collaborative, you know, that kind of thing, like gig economy. The things that on the whole are very natural to women when they're not caught up in the masculine world and think they have to match men. But our natural way of being that is collaborative because it makes more sense. So so I've been interested in creating business around this more feminine approach for a long time. But whenever I've worked for somebody else, even if they've wanted it, I've not been in the driving seat and somehow it's come apart. But being the founder of the Silver Tent means that I am in the driving seat. And so the whole structure is built on intuition, creativity, collaboration. And the ethos is that every decision that we're about to make, whatever we're looking at, it has to serve the membership, the wider community beyond the membership, the Silver Tent itself, and the people who look after it, you know, the team that run it. So everything has to serve every aspect of what we're dealing with. And so there's the part of the Silver Tent that serves women to rediscover their extraordinariness, if you like, their wisdom. Then there's the part of the coaches that have already found that and can share that with the others. So there's this sense of really working together within the membership itself. But there's no point in having a membership where we just go, oh, isn't it lovely being wise? You know, we've got to do something with it. So then there's the aspect of the Silver Tent where we ripple that wisdom out into the world in whatever way is appropriate for each one of us. So nobody will be asked to do something that isn't in their core nature. But one Saturday, as I was putting this all together, I was, you know, I daydream a lot because, you know, that's also part of my nature. And I thought, what could we do with it? Let's say we get this to really work well and all these women around the world are absolutely loving this. So what could we do? And I thought, well, what if we had 1 million women, at least 1 million women as members of the Silver Tent? Wow, okay, well, that's a lot of women, but I think it's doable. Well, what if half of those were fee-paying members? So we've got free membership and then 2 fee-paying levels. I thought, so what happens if, say, half of them were fee-paying? And that's only $100, just under $100 a year. It's not very much. And what they get for it, I think, is amazing. So I thought, well, that would be a revenue of about $50 million a year. So I just thought, whoa, hang on a second, that's a ridiculous amount of money. So I thought, okay, well, if we had 1 million women in the community, it would take a lot to service that because the IT, I have no idea how much the IT structures would cost. But even if it cost 10 million to run, even if it did, we'd have $40 million left. Now, most companies put that into, like, you know, big fat cat salaries and bonuses and their shareholders and its profit and you know, I don't know what they do with it. But I thought, but if we had $40 million worth of profit, well, what would we do with that? Because I don't need it. So I thought, wow, so what if we put that into a foundation? And what if we then asked the membership, what projects have they had just sort of floating around? You know, the things that you always wanted to do if you ever found a way of being able to do it. But projects that were life affirming, that were transformational, that were environmental, anything that would serve our world and our species and wildlife too. So what if we asked the membership if they had a burning project to submit that project to the foundation? And what if we then got the membership to vote on which projects could receive our funding and then funded them? I thought, oh my God, like if we had $40 million a year funding projects created by our membership, like what could we do out in the world with that? So I thought, wow. And then we put them together with the coaches that we have already in the faculty to help them bring that to fruition, which would include business coaches. And then we asked the community who wants to help. So if somebody is building an orphanage in, I don't know, Kathmandu, do any of the membership want to go help build it? So we actually get the people on the ground as well. Well, my head nearly blew off at that point when I thought of the power that we could create just through this really neat little membership structure. We could create a self-perpetuating philanthropic engine, and each one of us could live like the philanthropist that we've always I've always wanted to be a philanthropist, the philanthropist that we've always wanted to be. Now, if I can inspire people, women all around the world to go, oh, wow, oh my God.
I get it.
And it's not going to cost me much, and I'm going to get so much out of it, and I can give so much back. I can make this third phase of my life the most meaningful, the most powerful, and absolutely the most celebratory. Oh, that's it, really.
I think I need to sit down. I think it's good job I'm sitting down, actually. I think I need to sit down. I think it's good job I'm sitting down, actually.
I would love it.
When you first told me that story, I was covered in goose pimples, and I must admit, I'm still covered in goose pimples the second time around. I think it's an amazing story and an amazing vision, and I feel very honoured to be part of the growing community. And it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to the next stage. I know we're coming up to the end of the interview. Questions about going on a retreat. They're nothing to do with the topic that we've just been talking about. They're just general questions I ask everybody, and you just need to give me a one-word answer.
One word.
So, are you ready for this?
Not the easiest thing
just
for me, but
word.
okay. Right.
Okay, breathe in then. Take a breath in. Okay, we go. First question. What's the one thing that stresses you about going on holiday?
The flight.
Okay, good one. Second question. What's the one thing you always take on holiday?
My laptop.
Okay. And what's the one thing you wish you'd left
My
behind?
laptop.
I don't know you was going to say that one. What's the one thing you need to ditch right now, mentally or physically? Ditching baggage.
Fear.
Fear, good one. And what's the one thing you love to do, which is sensibly selfish? Sensibly selfish is my word for putting yourself first, so that you're all full of energy and in the right
facials
place. Good one. Like that one too. And what's the worst advice you were ever given at midlife?
In one word.
No, I'll give you
probably
go for
going to the yurt was a really stupid thing to do.
And now look where it's taking you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And now look where it's taking you. It wasn't a stupid thing to do at all, was it? If anybody wants to talk to you, Francesca, where can they find you? There's a link to the Silver Tent Summit, but if you've got an email or something, if you want to type it into the chat, please do so, and then people can get hold of you. And while you're typing, I'm just going to ask Vanessa if she's still there. If Vanessa's got any questions for you before we round up. I'm trying to look and see if I can't. get to the questions. Lucy's had to leave because it's totally echoing for her and she can't listen in, which is a real shame.
Yes, I could hear some of the echo myself.
We'll see what the replay comes out like. It should be okay. Francesca at thesilvertent.com. Fantastic. Francesca, it's been... Vanessa says you're an excellent inspiration to us all, which is very, very true.
I just want to add something quickly, can I?
I just want
and Vanessa, definitely for you and anyone else listening, is that if I can do it, anyone can. And I believe that utterly to be the truth. If you have an idea, it doesn't have to be the same idea as mine, but if I can do something, so can you. Definitely.
I think that's very, very true. And you are a huge inspiration to us when we see where you've come from over just 12 months. I can't wait to see where you're going to go in the next 12 months. It's going to be so exciting. Thank you for being with us today. I'm just going to introduce my guest for next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking to a non-midlife lady. She's still in her 30s, called Petra Ivan. But Petra and I have been working for the last 90 days together on a program called Wild Fit. And I've lost 14 kilos. And so she's going to come and talk about the program that we did together. So it's all about health and diet and exercise and nutrition and all the good things. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to Petra next week. Thank you once again for being with us, everybody. Vanessa, thank you for being here. If you get the replay, don't forget to get in touch with Francesca at the Silver Tent. The 2 links are in the chat at the side. And I look forward to speaking to you next week. So I'm going to turn off now, and that means, Francesca, I have to say goodbye to you. So I'll catch you on Facebook soon.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.